For most of my life, burnout is something that I've had to deal with time and time and time again. And for a long time, I didn't believe that it was real. I told myself that if I felt burnout, it was just me getting lazy or me losing motivation. And I needed to be more disciplined and I just needed to work harder. And, after making a couple $1,000,000 online and having a bunch of success in my baseball career, despite the fact that I was dealing with burnout the entire time, I learned that there's a much better way to do it. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I deal with burnout because literally just yesterday, I woke up feeling awful. I woke up feeling like I didn't necessarily have the juice that day, if you know what I mean, right? Like sometimes if you're a high performer and you're watching this, some days you wake up feeling better than others. Some days you wake up and you feel amazing and you feel like you could literally pull a tree out of the ground. And some days you wake up and you kind of wish that the tree was just fall on you, not to get too graphic or anything. But, I was kind of having one of those days, and it was kind of a string of a few days where I felt like I just couldn't really get my best work done. And recently I've stepped away from a lot of the day-to-day activities in my business, and my job has become much less about being the busy worker and being more of a thinker, making sure that I'm thinking clearly. And it's been a incredibly difficult identity shift for me, but that's a topic for a whole nother video. The point that I'm trying to make is yesterday I'm sitting there and I find myself craving, more caffeine. I find myself craving scrolling more. Like when I'm going on walks, I find myself craving putting, headphones in and listening to a podcast or to music or anything, right? It felt like I was just trying to fill my mind with whatever I possibly could, right? To try and find some energy. And in the past, whenever I would feel this, craving for more caffeine or more short form content or to, just listen to music or whatever it is. And it's not like any of these things are absolutely terrible, right? I think all these things can be great if used in moderation, if used properly. But when I start to crave these things, that's when I know that something is up. In the past, what I used to do is I would start to crave caffeine and all these things because I was maybe like not feeling the most productive, and I would start taking a bunch of caffeine, or like even I got into this cycle where I started taking a bunch of Adderall, and I convinced myself that I could basically be a superhuman and that I didn't have to rest and that I could be productive 24/7 because of this thing called Adderall, right? And so what I've come to realize is the reason why I always would go towards something like Adderall or caffeine or short form or things like that is because my identity was so attached to the outcomes that I was trying to generate. Like, for example, when I first started in business, it was all about how much money I can make, right? If the number was going up and to the right on my Stripe account, then Nick was an awesome guy and Nick loved himself and everything was right in Nick's world. But if, our revenue started to dip a little bit, then what did that say about Nick, right? And in hindsight, looking back, it sounds so ridiculous, but I'm sure that you might be doing this in your life as well. I used to do this in my baseball career all the time, where if Nick went 4 for 4, then Nick was going to be everybody's best friend, right? Nick was going to be an awesome guy. He was going to be an awesome teammate. He was going to show up to the workout and have a ton of energy, and he was going to be that guy. But if Nick went 0 for 4, despite the fact that if we won or if we lost, it didn't really matter, right? And it's not that I was inherently trying to be selfish. It's not that I didn't care if we won or lost or that I didn't care about my teammates' performance. It's that my identity and my self-worth was so wrapped up in my ability to perform that I couldn't afford to think about anything else. I had to be focused on my own performance. And because I grabbed all of my self-worth from my performance, my mood was completely dictated based on that. Right? And so when I learned that that's what I was doing in my business, it also tied the knot together of my baseball career. And I'm like, oh, well, that's why I was such an inconsistent person, because we cannot place our self-worth in an external circumstance or an external outcome and be a consistent person, because our outcomes in our lives are so far beyond our control, right? At the end of the day, there's a higher power that literally controls everything. And I used to have a lot of resistance to that idea, right? I thought it was soft to believe in a higher power, right? And to relinquish and surrender that control. But really, it's just because I was afraid to give up control because I was so afraid to get hurt, right? And so I would worry so much about the future and, and then I would shame myself for the past and the things that I did and why couldn't I just be better and why couldn't I be more perfect and I need to create a better future for myself. And so I would work on myself and do all these things and then work as hard as I possibly could. And then I would get to these places where I feel like, oh, wow, like I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable. I'm feeling like what I learn now is burnout, and I would push through. And that's what led me to go down these dark paths of like, Adderall or substance abuse or whatever it is, right? So with all that being said, giving you the full backstory on how I've dealt with burnout over and over and over and over and over again in my life, I've since learned that you can actually do way more by doing less. Now, I know everybody in the world says that with like, their productivity hacks and time management and this and that. But what I've learned is that most of the things that we're trying to do in life, especially if you're a creative, they don't really take a ton of time, right? Like me making this video right now is gonna take what? I don't know, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 15, it could be 30 minutes. But I spent some time writing about it before. I spent a bunch of time walking, thinking about it. Like this video is 28 years in the making. And so if you look at it as this is just the creative expression of my life, well then I don't have to force anything that comes out, right? I can literally just turn on the camera and stream of consciousness speak to you because I've kind of organized my thoughts a little bit, but it's a expression of my entire life up until this point, right? And so what's the point that I'm trying to make? Most of the time we don't have to fight and push nearly as hard as we think that we do. We actually need to relinquish control and focus on optimizing for our energy being at the highest level. So that way, when we show up, we can show up at our best, right? I've made some of these videos where I come on here and I'm super burned out and I just turn on the camera and I say a bunch of words and I don't really feel like I made any points. And some people will comment and be like, wow, great message, Nick. And I'm like, dude, I feel like that was terrible. I could have given a better effort, but because I didn't take care of myself leading up to that video, it wasn't my best work. But however, last night I got 9 hours of sleep. I got a massage yesterday. I went on a walk. I had coffee. I didn't bring anything in my headphones, or I didn't even bring my phone on the walk because I knew that I wanted to make this video. So while you're only going to see 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes of this video, I prepared for hours on end, but not the way that you would think, right? So what I used to do in the past is I would, get this signal of, okay, like I am feeling stressed out, I am feeling burned out, I'm craving more caffeine, nicotine, I'm craving short form content, I'm craving a distraction, right? Think about your mind as a container. Okay, your mind is a container, and our brains are transmitters of signals, of energy, right? So we send and receive, I should have done that backwards. We send and receive energy and signals to our brain, right? So by stuffing ourselves with a bunch of caffeine or nicotine or drugs or alcohol or, watching a bunch of short form content or always listening to music and always having something in our ears, like we can never just sit there alone in our thoughts. Well, we are quite literally blocking our ability to have a signal from the higher power who communicates to us, right? And so if we are constantly blocking that signal, then we can't tap into the infinite power that is God, right? Not to make this entire thing like a religious sermon or a preaching session, but that's 100% true. I've found it to be true in my life. Whenever I'm distracting myself, whenever I'm finding these things, whenever I'm craving myself or finding myself craving these things and I block it, then I'm blocking off the signal that is going to tell me like, hey, you need to take a step back. You need to spend a little bit more time with your thoughts. You need to replenish, right? And so I would just sit there and run myself into a wall and I would crash and burn And then any work that I did was absolutely terrible, right? The reason why this is so bad is because we can never continue to slowly progress and go up and to the right. I would basically just get to the same peak every single time and think that this is like what I was always chasing, right? I was always chasing this peak, whether it was the amount of hits I got, the amount of money I made, the amount of women I was talking to, whatever it was, right? I was always chasing this peak, but then I would come down and crash, right? And then I would get all this motivation to be like, oh, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. And I would get back up to that peak, but it would be unsustainable. I would crave all these things. I would go to more caffeine. I would start using nicotine. I would start smoking weed. I would start drinking alcohol. I would start, trying to distract myself with women, whatever it was. And then boom, I nosedive head first, and I can never break past that peak. So how now am I able to break past that peak and continue to go up and to the right while working less? Well, it's because before right as I'm about to turn down, I recognize, oh, I'm craving more caffeine. I am craving a drink. I want to talk to, this woman or that woman who I already know is bad for me, right? At that moment, that's when I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back. So I'm on a walk yesterday feeling this like burnout, right? And I'm like, oh, I need more coffee. I need more this. I need more that. I need, right? It's coming from a place of lack. I'm signaling that I don't have. So what did I do? I was like, well, I've never had a massage before. What if I just got a massage? Like, I think that would be pretty cool, right? And then like 45 seconds later, I walked past a massage parlor. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to walk in there. Like, let's see if they take walk-ins, right? And at first I resisted it too. I was like, oh no, like I'm not going to go in there for a massage. That's weird, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know why I was saying that, right? Maybe just because it was uncomfortable, it was different. And so I walk by and I'm like, nah, I need to go back in. Like I literally was just thinking about how I should book a massage. So I booked a massage I go back in, I booked a massage for later that night, and I get the massage. And I walk out and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I feel revitalized. I feel rejuvenated. And then I sleep 9 hours last night. I go on a walk, I get hydrated, I have a little bit of coffee, I come back here, and now I can deliver a 10 out of 10 message to anybody that's watching this video and give you my best effort. But if I didn't do any of that, I'd be sitting here like literally verbal diarrheaing in front of the camera strictly because I committed to posting one of these per week, right? You're not going to get my best effort that way. You're not going to get my best creation. And as a creative, where my job is to think clearly, how much of a shame is it if I'm just putting out work out there because I feel an obligation to, rather than from a place of abundance, rather than from a place of, I am just trying to serve whoever it is that is watching this video right now. I am giving you my absolute best effort and compiling years and years and years of perfectionism and burnout and a roller coaster life and substance abuse and distraction and resisting God and all these things. I'm pouring it out into this video right now. But the only way that I could do that is if I give myself the space to let the signal come down and let God tell me like, hey bro, like you need to chill out, right? You need to take a little bit of time. I just followed my intuition. I literally never have thought of getting a massage before, but I get that upon me. I'm like, okay, I need to listen to that. Boom, the massage parlor's right there. I walk in, I book it. Now I feel amazing. I'm able to deliver like a fabulous message and hopefully help out one person overcome these feelings of burnout, because you don't need to do more. When you tell yourself, I need to do more, you're signaling lack, right? And the world will give you whatever you currently have. If you have a feeling of lack, the world is going to show you lack in everything. If you have a feeling of abundance, the world is going to show you a feeling of abundance, right? And so I've learned that it's about giving your best effort for as long as you can. As soon as you feel, I am feeling a little bit burned out right now, that's when you need to reset Give yourself a little bit of space, give yourself a little bit of time, get away from it, do something nice for yourself. You don't have to book a massage, but maybe like go swimming or go on a walk or just do something that you love. Hopefully it's not destructive to you and your soul, right? Do something like connect with nature. Do something that is going to be good for you and show yourself that you care about you by doing something nice for you and allowing yourself to recover so that way you can come back and give the best effort that you possibly can. I used to run myself into the ground by taking too many swings. I ran myself into the ground by trying to push myself super hard in the weight room. I ran myself into the ground by trying to be perfect with my diet. All these things stem from perfectionism. We're never going to be perfect. That's completely okay. You are enough exactly as you are, just like I am. We need to give ourselves a little bit of grace, give ourselves a little bit of forgiveness, surrender the outcome, and just allow things to be. When you do that and you allow the signal, you allow God to speak to you, and you can just flow directly through, your life will get so much better. You will feel so much more at peace. You won't live your day-to-day stressfully, if that's even a word, with so much stress, because you're allowing yourself to relax. You're allowing yourself to receive the signal. You're allowing yourself to recuperate and show up as your best self, because that is what you owe to the world, is to show up as your best self, right? So that's about all I got for the day. I think I made all the points that I wanted to. Hopefully this is helpful to somebody out there watching this right now. Hopefully it's relevant. You just need to chill out sometimes and stop trying to force these outcomes. Act as if everything is going to work out in your favor, because it always does. God's got your back. Anyway, hopefully you got a ton of value out of this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy Friday, y'all. Peace.